listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is episode 152 of the Awards Watch Podcast. I am your host, executive editor Ryan McQuade, joined today by our TV editor, Tyler Doster. Hi, Tyler.
Hello.
And,
hey, Ryan.
And we are joined from another country by the one and only editor-in-chief, Erik Anderson. Hello, Erik.
I am Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today.
Just make sure what makeup you're applying is not the bad makeup. Yeah.
God.
Anyway, what are we here to talk about? Well, we just finished the Emmys. The Emmys are what we're here to talk about. I mean, Erik and all the hooligans that are in Toronto right now, they will be back next week to talk about all their films, and we'll give a kind of a state of the union sort of thing of what we think is going to be in that sort of race as we are as a lot is starting to unfold over the last couple of weeks with Telluride in Toronto and New York on the horizon. But we're not going to talk about any of that. We're not talking about any of that. You tried to talk about it right there.
You just tried to
shut you down.
I was just going to cut you off and say, this isn't about movies. This is about TV.
What do you care? You didn't even watch the show.
I did watch the show. I actually cut short my festival viewing to watch the Emmys. That's what I did tonight.
I guess you do care about television.
On East Coast time, even.
Yeah. Oh my God. Heaven forbid you were complaining about like having to watch the Emmys so in a real time zone.
Oh my God.
Now you sympathize. Now you sympathize.
Oh, I know. I don't care for you people at all.
Well, mine finished at 10. I will say that's one of the great things about the Emmys this year. They had a 3-hour show and they stuck to it and they ended right at 10.
And it was a terrible, terrible show.
No, it was a great show. What are you talking about?
It was a terribly produced show. It was horrible.
It ran smoothly. It was effective, and it was a hell of a lot better than the Oscars.
So it's Activia of award shows, is what you're saying.
You would know.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Are we going to talk about the Emmys?
Let's
talk about the Emmys.
Let's talk about the Emmys. So, Tyler, we've been prognosticating in the last couple of weeks about how it was going to play out. So as everything was unfolding, we're sitting here tonight. The big winners were Ted Lasso, Succession, and the White Lotus in the major big top prizes. But then there were some other surprises. So what to you stuck out the most from these winners?
I would say going in, I thought that Barry was going to win in the directing for a comedy category. As our listeners will know, we've all thought that at least once or another time in this past few weeks. So it surprised me that Ted Lasso, who didn't win in this category last year, actually took this category this year.
I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Barry walked away with a big old donut on the night. Pour one out to Bill Hader. I know Erik and I were texting about that earlier. It's not that we don't. I know you don't like the show or anything. I know you love the show.
I love the show.
But I agree with you. I think that's what we talked about. I think even though I did predict it, I think did we all predict it?
I'm pretty sure we all did.
Our trepidation about it, and Erik, you can speak to this, was the fact that show didn't feel as much of like a comedy, and given that it's competition, there's a lot like all the other shows that were in top contentions. Those are very funny shows. It's a very deep show, so I can understand why Barry didn't do as well as we thought it would. But it was surprising that it didn't win that one. It is very showy direction, I will say that. If you watch the episodes,
it definitely is. So yeah, it was a surprise.
It was a big surprise for you, Mr. I cut my festival short. What stood out to you?
I definitely loved seeing the huge support for Black women at the Emmys this year. Not a lot of first time things, a lot of seconds. Cheryl Lee Ralph becoming only the second Black woman to win supporting actress in a comedy series after Jackie Harry 35 years ago. Quinta Brunson winning writing. The only other Black woman that's ever won is Lena Waithe, 2017.
Yeah.
But Zendaya did set herself apart in a few different ways. When she won lead actress in a drama series 2 years ago, she was only the second woman to win ever, black woman to win ever after Viola Davis. She was the youngest winner ever. She's now a two-time winner, making her the only black woman to win that category twice.
And the youngest two-time winner.
The youngest two-time winner. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty great. But I mean, there were lots of, it was kind of what the Emmys are always about, and like where you have tons of like repeat wins where you're scratching your head going, wow, why and how. And then you have these great first timers that just invigorate the audience and the crowd and the viewers.
So I don't want to say I called this because I don't think I ultimately picked it, but I did stress that if somebody was from Succession was going to win supporting actor, it should have been Matthew McFadden, and he ended up pulling the win, and I was so happy for that because
it was the right choice.
It was the right damn choice, and usually we don't ever see that. Usually, and it's not that Karen Culkin isn't fantastic on that show. It's just that given the character arc of the season, it had to be him, and I'm glad that the voters saw that.
It was the right choice.
Very sad that my beloved Severance did not pull out a win here tonight, including in writing, which Jesse Armstrong won again. That was
got those couple of creative arts wins last weekend, but then
really teased us. Out. Yeah, there were some teases from that creative arts Emmys that chose violence.
But that always happens too. People get real excited when a show like wins a handful of things and thinks that it means a little more than it does.
Yeah. I mean, the one show that did dominate the night was The White Lotus, and we kind of all figured that was going to happen.
Oh, no, right? I didn't. I totally choked on that because I was Dope Sick all the way.
Did you switch to Dope Sick?
I had stayed at Dope Sick.
Oh, okay.
I didn't move. Everyone else was like, White Lotus. And I'm like, no, you're all wrong. And it was me that was wrong.
Yes, you were wrong all along.
But I was not wrong about Julia Garner back in January.
God damn it. I knew.
Yeah, I'm going to ride that wave.
An obvious wave. It felt like I think we all just kind of were like, can there be somebody else? It was a very competitive category, but yeah, ultimately and that's the thing, like you mentioned, Erik, is like sometimes they do go safe and they do end up repeating themselves. It was the final season of that show, so there was no other chance. I did get a little nervous when we got to actress in an anthology series because she won, and I went, for the love of God, please don't give her 2. Please do not give it for that. And then it went to Seyfried, which that was a bit of a relief considering the fact that she was the front runner for such a long time.
She was, and then she became like this plateaued sort of flatlined front runner.
It was just like, is she gonna win? Are we sure about it? Hedge the bet, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, he was no Michael Keaton, or she was
no. Which, by the way, shout out to Michael Keaton being the first award of the night and then bouncing the hell out of there. He did.
It was like the opposite of the HCA. It was just like just stroll him in at the last second.
It was very CCA Joker. With like Joaquin Phoenix, like, get me in there. I got a bedtime, and I've got I gotta go watch Monday Night Football or something like that. I don't know what he was doing. He was in and out. But that was the most obvious, I think, win. So it was like good to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Tyler, were there any like other wins that you were sort of surprised? I mean, I think drama series was interesting because Succession wins those 3, but Squid Game had a good night too. And we had thought, I think we had thought maybe Yellow Jackets or Severance could play spoiler. What did you think of how drama sort of played out?
Well, I was thrilled about Lee Chung-jae winning and making history in the Outstanding Lead Actor in a Series category, being the first South Korean actor to ever win. I am fine with all the other ones. Nothing too surprising in this category, especially not the writing category, which I think we all knew that Jesse Armstrong was going to win in. I was a little surprised that director Huang won for direction for a drama series only after hearing the applause in the room for Ben Stiller for Severance.
Yeah.
Because he got some pretty loud applause. So for a second there, I kind of wavered on my prediction. But that was anything from Squid Game winning tonight, I was really thrilled about. I hope that opens the door for more international and non-English series to be included in the Emmys. I think it should. But with Succession winning at the end, I really wasn't surprised by that. I think everyone knew going in that was going to be the case.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting about Succession all year long, and looked right back at the SAG Awards, is that they don't win really anything, you think of like in terms of the major lead actors, but they do squeak out the surprise win for McFadden. Writing, I think we sort of thought maybe that's where they do award Severance, considering the fact that it's the fresh new show, and they did that in comedy with Quinta Brunson, but that seems to just be a different beast entirely. And I felt like, Squid Game had that momentum. It felt like from creatives and then now and winning actor and everything. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and when its second season ever does release. But in comedy, I thought that was really where we got to spread the wealth, I think, for the most part. And you get Ted Lasso winning there, which was a little bit of a surprise for me, considering the fact that we had talked. Don't shake your head at me, Erik. You don't love television like we do.
I just shake my head because Ted Lasso and Succession winning were easy predictions because they kind of were just placeholders almost.
Well, I mean, it is true. I mean, I'll give you that. But then, of course, the love for Abbott seemed to be there. Obviously, to award Quinta and Charlie Ralph there. And I had predicted that to go all the way. And it kind of felt like it was probably two very close. Obviously, Hacks, underperformed than it did in its first year. But that's just a casualty of this competitive race. And obviously we all knew Jean Smart was going to win. She wins her second straight Emmy in that category. And then
three of the four acting wins
were repeats.
Were repeat wins.
Were repeats. But also we didn't know how they were going to turn out. We didn't know if Sudeikis, because he, obviously the murderers gentleman. So, RIP to the
Martin Short was robbed.
Martin Short was robbed, or Bill Hader, or Steve Martin, but then also the vast competitive race that was supporting actor, and then it just ultimately went to Brett Goldstein, which you can't get too sad about Brett Goldstein winning, because he's just the nicest person on the planet. But
he really is.
He really is. But
he is.
But that speech by Sheryl Lee Ralph just was the moment of the entire Emmys. Just everything. It was everything. I mean, I was watching it, and I was flipping back and forth through stuff, and I kind of froze in that moment. And it was like, this is 45 years of somebody's career coming to a full-on celebration. And it just, I know that I think we all sort of were predicting if somebody was going to win from Abbott, it was going to be Janelle James.
It was a nice little upset.
It was a very nice upset.
That's the one that it needed to be.
Yeah. And I was and I was kind of hoping so, because there's no shade to Janelle James or anything, but I just thought Sheryl Lee Ralph was fantastic in that first season, and was the heart and soul of it.
But Janelle James is exactly
the kind of winner
that wins here.
Yeah. But
so it was good. But I mean, Ralph's submission was very sweet. It was really, really good submission. It wasn't crazy one-liner hilarious. It was just very heartfelt.
Yeah. And I think that kind of fits the mold of the show. You know what I mean? Of Abbott Elementary. And it was nice to also see Quinta Brunson win. I will also say I was a little pissed that Jimmy Kimmel and Will Arnett did a bit, and the bit continued into like her trying to do her acceptance speech there while Jimmy Kimmel's like laying on the
That's
ground.
why I
like
said it was a terribly produced show. It was bad idea after bad idea.
it was a bad idea. I don't
Well,
think
Yeah, that got on my nerves.
well, let's talk about
the
let's talk
order
about
was
the show.
weird too.
Let's talk about the show.
I thought it was weird that we started with the lead actor category
Oh, I didn't.
for lead actor in limited.
Keenan wanted out of
series.
there.
Yeah, but they were doing like, directing after, acting categories like it was the Oscars. It was very strange. That's just not how it normally goes.
Well, usually you get all those done out of the way, and then you do this. Usually it's like supportings. Then you get all the writing, directing out of the way, and then you do like the acting, and then you do the main prizes, and then you're out of there.
No, I get that you don't want to be predictable, so that people aren't like, okay, here's where I know I can, tune out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to jump around a little bit.
I thought they had a great audition piece for Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez to host the Oscars next year, because they were
anything they do is an audition for that.
They were fantastic. I just was like, why can't the energy of the show just be Steve Martin and Martin Short throwing jabs at each other back and forth, and Selena Gomez being like, all right, let's just try to present an award here, and just it was perfect.
That they haven't locked him in already, it makes me just go, it's not going to happen.
What are you doing? It just doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't.
Nope.
You know what I mean? But they were fantastic. There were a couple of other presenting, like Nicole Bayer and Molly Shannon. That was a pair that it was just like kind of perfect.
It was a pair that should have been nominated.
Yeah, no shit. But I thought there were some other interesting choices. I thought the beginning of it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Erik, you haven't seen the beginning of the show, but Tyler, you can speak to it.
Do you mean when they were thrown to the main opening of Squid Game?
No, I was thinking towards like them dancing to the theme songs of television shows like the Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah,
and Friends.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
They were throwing ass to the Brady Bunch soundtrack.
Yeah, and then Oprah walks out and does like a speech to like make everybody feel okay for the night, and I was like, where are we going with this?
I thought it was weird that Oprah didn't present like a series category.
She presented Keaton.
Award. I thought that was weird. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, it's Oprah. Yeah,
nothing made sense.
And then Keaton comes out. I thought his monologue was fine. Like, it's kind of hard for somebody like Kenan Thompson to bomb. Though I thought Bowen Yang, when he did like his sort of mini monologue in the middle of the show, I thought that was pretty funny. But I gotta say this, they ended on time, though at the cost of cutting off a lot of speeches. And they did not care. I thought that they were kind of ruthless, but also like there was an expectation of you've got like 30 to 45 seconds. And if you want to take like your parents or people, you can put that down below, pre already written out, which I thought that was good. And it just kind of lent itself to them just being more in the moment and emotional about it. I don't know. Erik, you hated this. Tyler, did you hate overall the ceremony and how it was presented?
I am in the middle. I think I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I didn't like. I never like when people start getting played off, especially after small increments of time. That always.
It's like Julia Garner. Didn't she get played off pretty quick?
Yeah, it felt like some of them were like as soon as they made it to the stage, like the time started. Yeah, I did like Jennifer Coolidge's response to getting played off, which was to start dancing.
that was fantastic because it was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna dance right off the stage and everything. Erik, you hated this thing?
So I didn't get to see a whole lot of like the bad sketches, just enough to be super annoyed. But yeah, the Will Arnett, Jimmy Kimmel thing, not a fan of. And also just the weird way that they like had the announcer announce nominations and then they had like the presenters come up. It was just a lot of weird choices.
That was weird. Instead of the presenters announcing the nominations themselves, or even having done like a pre-recorded thing that they do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
nothing
weird.
really making sense for me.
For me,
I will.
I don't know. I was watching it and I was just like, they're moving pretty quick. They're getting through these awards. I think that's the point of the show. Maybe there's obviously going to be jokes that work. There's going to be gags that don't work and some that do. For me, I just kind of was just like, I was invested all the way through and it ended on time. And I don't think there was anything, no
You're
offense.
really into that end on time thing, aren't you?
I think so
You're
because
really into it.
because of the fact that it proves that you can do a show like this in the 3-hour runtime, have a host, all that stuff, if you get rid of a lot of the crap. And there was still a lot of crap in here that they could have got rid of, but it still moved pretty quickly and was effective. It was a hell of a lot better than the Oscars. Like the in memoriam was a real in memoriam. It was nice to see that. It was nice to see a real in memoriam. It was a very low bar, but you know what? That's the bar I have from, literally the last thing I remember. And so
angry. You sound
so angry. Because I think NBC did a pretty good job. They didn't do a great job, but they did a pretty good job. I mean, ABC should learn a thing or two. That's all I'm saying.
I thought that if they wanted to make the show better, they should have brought out Jennifer Aniston again to light a trash can on fire. I thought that went pretty well a couple years ago. I thought we should have done it again.
Yeah, that's fair. Or and this time be like really angry at the fact that she was quote unquote snubbed for Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Reese Witherspoon, every time the camera was close to her, she looked just happy to be there.
She looked kind of pissed. I had to rewind for a second because she looked like she kind of was rolling her eyes a little bit at Zendaya in that win.
I don't think
no.
She wasn't going to win herself.
No, but she rewound. I rewound the footage just be like, did she? And no, she was just. It was one of those like, oh my god, I love her so much kind of things, and that's why her eyes went in the back of her head a little bit. And so upon a quick edit like that, it could look bad,
That's how I also feel about Zendaya, though.
It's like she has enough. That's what you're saying.
No, that when I see her, I'm just like, I love you so much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you just deserve everything.
She's amazing.
She's the best. Well, we didn't talk about some frustrating wins. I thought that there were a couple of frustrating wins.
Me too.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Saturday Night Live winning again? And I'm sick and tired of that show winning when it's only 2 shows in the category.
Things were really like pointing toward a Black Ladies sketch show being able to finally topple them after winning directing and picture editing. Those were major creative arts wins, especially directing. It was a little bit of a surprise, honestly. It really was.
Yeah.
But boy, those variety categories get really stuck in a rut. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver won for the 7th time. But then you go on the other side and RuPaul finally gets dethroned.
By Lizzo.
It's by Lizzo?
Wow. What an upset.
And the big girls.
Yeah.
It's
about damn time,
Is it?
Oh.
No, it's
There
not
you
a
go.
good show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a good song.
Good for her.
Oh,
no, it isn't a good song.
Halfway to an EGOT. Lizzo. There you go.
She is.
Saw that.
She is EG.
She's EG. Yeah. She's UG. Eeg. She's Eeg. She's got oot to go.
There wasn't a lot of other than that, people really closing in on EGOT stuff. Obviously we want to keep a really close eye on that, but there wasn't anyone that got their third, and now we're going, ooh,
yeah,
what are they gonna do next?
No, that's fair. Yeah, because if like Michael Keaton would have won that Oscar many years ago, then it would have been halfway to his. So, but he didn't.
Sure.
Which it was nice to see Keaton win something. Because
Mhm.
we kind of forget that Hollywood kind of threw him away. We have that kind of narrative already this year in the best actor race in the Oscars of Hollywood throwing away a beloved actor of the past and everything, and him on the comeback. So it's very interesting. It was almost still like a full circle. Like, we've embraced Michael Keaton over the last couple of years, but he hasn't really won anything. And we kind of it was kind of interesting. I did notice that Oscar Isaac, after that category was over, he left. And as one would, why would he even go? He wasn't going to win. I will go back to it. I was frustrated with Jason Sudeikis winning actor. I agree with Erik. I thought Martin Short, or I thought Bill Hader should have won that category. It just felt like the first half of the show were filled with all the surprises and all the twists and turns that we expected.
Yeah.
And then the damn second half of that show, when Erik started watching, it got really predictable. And I was like, shit. It was almost like it was all backloaded in the end by all these previous winners. And I was a little frustrated by that. I don't know what you guys thought.
No, that is kind of what it was like. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to say? I mean, I thought Keenan he was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was great.
He was
a host. There's no hosts anymore that can do a great job, I think.
Well, let's see. Mike White is a triple Emmy winner. I think. What is he, the first Survivor player to be an individual Emmy winner? I think we need to make sure and mention that.
Murray Bartlett.
White Lotus won 10. It won 10.
Yeah.
Of its 20.
Murray Bartlett's win.
Yep. I mean, the two that were very predictable, Coolidge and Bartlett.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big number, considering it was like 7 performances nominated and they were all going against each other.
Yep.
So it's like, there was only a certain amount they could have won in the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you eliminated all of the doubling and tripling and quadrupling up in some of those categories, its actual ratio of wins was extraordinary.
Yeah, I'm putting to rest once again anybody out there that believes in vote splitting.
Well, I think in this case it's a little bit different because the front runners were such.
Just take the win and shush. Just shush. Take the win. Shush. Just take the win.
Yeah.
I will say, before we end, I will say that my thoughts going forward is that based on tonight's performance for Abbott Elementary, with them getting a full season order this next whole season, I think that they're going to be an even bigger contender as they keep going.
They got to get the directing and picture editing nominations. They got to get that in there to be really competitive. I mean, that's why I didn't think it was going to win, because it didn't have those.
Maybe not next season either, because it's showing that, like, Ted Lasso for some people seems like a little bit of a lesser season than the first season, and it was still able to win. And so I think that with the third season coming up, I think it's coming out this coming year or whatever. When it does come out
this summer
or something like that. When it does come out, I think we're looking at it winning all 3 of its prizes. I think it seems to be a juggernaut. Because that directing win, I'm sitting here tonight and it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I mean, especially because it didn't, Erik, if I'm not mistaken, it did not win editing, which you and I were sitting there on the gondola, right? And we were talking about the fact that it didn't win for that flashy editing that makes that episode. And so it kind of was like, oh, okay, well then I don't think it's winning directing. And then it won that spot. So but I agree with you, Tyler. I think Abbott will only grow from here. There is also Only Murders didn't walk away with anything other than guest actor, which, by the way, the guest actors did not present tonight.
Thank you. What in the world? Weird. Where was Coleman Domingo?
He was there. He was sitting off stage. I saw him towards the back right.
But that is a big break from tradition and one of the very best ones that they do.
That was I noticed that and I was like, okay, when are that? Because they usually present like directing or writing, you know what
something.
I mean?
Yeah, something. And
and they do they usually do like a little, we did the creative arts Emmys and they do like a little montage of
They
just
didn't do
like
any
a
of that.
couple of nights.
None of
No,
that
they
shit
acted like they
existed.
didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they acted like
And
the creative arts Emmys didn't happen.
I mean, Euphoria won 6 Emmys. That was like the second most. So
That's all. Yeah.
come on, put Coleman and Mingo up in there and let him present something, because
Put him and Nathan Lane up there. Just put them up there. Those are historic wins, especially and for their careers too.
yes,
I mean, for God's sakes, what the
it's
hell was
weird.
wrong with them?
It's wild.
Freaking NBC and Peacock.
I mean, unless they couldn't all 4 be there. I don't know. Maybe there.
But you can
was
still
a
put
stipulation.
Domingo up there.
I know.
Saw him in the crowd. Jesus.
I know.
Didn't make any
Coulda,
sense.
woulda.
I will say, shout out to John Oliver, who just looked like I got to do this again. He's in the Jon Stewart phase now of I got to do this again, because like when he won, he was just sitting there, like he wasn't ready for the category, and he's just like, "Oh, we won. Oh, okay. Let me just walk up there." I think I hate usually saying this to people, but I think he might have to recuse himself at a certain point. Like it's getting ridiculous. But then who wins that category? A different male. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, probably.
it's that category is a waste.
Once again, based on tonight's applause, I thought it might have been Stephen Colbert.
Colbert got a big applause. It was
big applause.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks because I like it to. Well, but Colbert's a previous winner in the category too, so it's not like it would be far off either. But any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on the Emmys? On the Emmys going forward, what's going to win? Do we have a prediction for what will win next year? Thinking it might be The Crown.
I was about to say we're going back to The Crown next year.
We're going back to The Crown. Lady
Yeah,
died.
they usually
went up 800%.
The second season with the cast, so I don't know if they'll give them stuff for season 5.
I know, too soon.
I wish the Crown had been competitive this year.
Oh my God, that would have been insane.
It would have been pretty wild.
I think it would have won.
Well, I mean, obviously it wouldn't have mattered time wise,
No,
had the Queen died a couple.
But I think it might have beat Succession, because I still say that
I think it'll definitely win next year.
Yeah, I was waiting for Mandalorian to come back. That could totally win.
Yeah, that's like I think February.
Yeah, that, and you got to keep an eye out for that. Wonder if either one of these Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings shows will make their way into it.
Oh God, I hope not. No,
I'm just saying, you got
creative arts Emmys only, please. No.
Well, I mean, if Stranger Things can get in there,
not hairstyling.
Now, best makeup or wigs. Best wigs go to Game of Thrones.
Please no.
But no, I mean, we'll have Handmaid's Tale next year, right? And I know. I'm just putting
come for
the
me,
facts
Handmaid's Tale fans.
out
I don't
there.
care.
The Crown will be back. Mandalorian will be back. Succession will be back. Hacks will be back in comedy. Abbott will be back in comedy.
Last season of Ted Lasso.
Last season of Ted Lasso. Second
3.
Season of Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
I don't buy that, by the way, about Ted Lasso either. So they say that, but then Apple TV will give them like $1 billion and they'll make another season. It'll be bad. And what else? I don't know. I mean, we don't know about.
Hopefully, we have another season of Severance in time.
Squid Game's probably not going to happen, given that they're still trying to figure that all out.
Yeah,
and it would be very
I think last time I heard about that, they said it'd be probably like late 2024 before we get Squid Game season 2.
Yeah,
good Lord.
Yeah. Well, they gotta write it and put it all together. It's a big production.
I mean, they won 6 Emmys too. They tied with
Euphoria. Yeah. All right. Well, that's kind of it. We're not going to talk about Toronto and the ticketing system and all that stuff because
that doesn't have anything to do with the Emmys.
I know that just piss off Erik or or anything. Oh, I will say one thing. I do have a prediction. All you Better Call Saul fans out there. I think Odenkirk's He's got it next year.
Better Call Saul continuing its streak of 0 fucking wins, other than that short form like music video commercial
thing.
or whatever the thing that it was.
Yep, but I do think Odenkirk will win next year. I'm gonna
Okay.
put that out there now. Put that a year in advance.
Go ahead and do that. You do that.
Be completely wrong because that show's never gonna win anything. But better, hey,
Yeah.
had a good finale. People, I figured it might have pulled the upset, and it didn't
see.
even during
Maybe.
that time. Maybe, well, I don't know. All right, Tyler Doster, tell everybody where they can find you out there.
You can find all of my stuff on AwardsWatch.com. Even though the Emmys are over, we will still have TV reviews, hopefully interviews still coming up, etc. And I just want to say, for those listening right now, from the time you were listening to this, the campaign for guest actress for Megan Thee Stallion in P Valley has started officially.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we will be going there next year.
For P Valley. I
thought you meant She-Hulk.
Yeah, I did too.
I was gonna be like, damn, Tyler,
Damn.
I didn't see that coming. Double nomination.
Double nomination.
Double
there.
2 different categories. So.
But that can happen in that category. It can. Erik Anderson, where can we
Yes.
find you out there on the internet?
You can find me on the streets of Toronto.
Don't.
For another
If you got
week.
a donut, give it to Erik.
Please give me a donut. Yeah. And otherwise, awardswatch.com. Yes.
You can find me here at awardswatch.com. And if you want to, you can go back and read all my stuff from Telluride or from upcoming festivals that I'll be at as well. You can find my other work at In Session Film, The Playlist, and Film Speak. And next week is just we're all gonna come back. We're just gonna sit here and we might play a couple games and the back half of the episode, do a regular episode, but we're gonna just sit here. We're gonna talk about the movies that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. We're gonna talk about this awards race because it is getting busy. Erik's seen a lot of movies. I know Dan, Nicole, Kevin, myself, we've all seen a ton of movies. Josh is as well. I know Sophia's getting ready for New York Film Festival as well. So we've got a ton of things going on. The Emmys are done. It's now time for everyone's favorite part of the year, 6 months of Oscars. So thank you.
Yeah, I love that the Academy Twitter tweeted today. 6 months until the 95th Oscars. People
And
like, shut up.
Shut up. You're making it look really stupid right now.
But I mean, TV stuff isn't done yet.
Nope. TV's never done.
And maybe the Golden Globes. There's those that's still, we'll be talking about those in the coming months.
We'll be talking about The Bear winning Best Comedy.
But boy, the last couple of days have really made the movie races quite interesting.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, we'll talk about the movie next week. But until then, we will see you all next time.